What's up, everybody? Welcome into Broncos Postgame Live here on Guerilla Sports. I am Chad Brown. This is my lovely co-host, Kristin Brown.
Hello.
And yes, we come to you at the end of the Broncos season.
Yeah.
10-7 loss to the New England Patriots. The 13 comeback wins by the Broncos this year could not come back in this one. And the Patriots and Mike Vrabel, my former teammate, are on to Santa Clara in the Super Bowl. And the Broncos get a chance, the Bronco fans get a chance to rue about what could have been, because there were certainly opportunities in this game to win it.
What was, what is, what could have been. And then hopefully there'll be some joy in what was. And we'll grieve what could have been. And then believe for what can be, what can come. I mean, there's next year, feels forever away. I mean, should we just take a moment of silence? I'm truly crushed here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we played for the Patriots, right? People know this, and I think there's been some confusion about
loyalties,
my fandom,
okay,
my loyalty. But this kid named Bo Nix came into my life, and his love of all things faith, family, football, leadership. I just believed, and I wanted it so bad for the team and for Bronco country and for what Bo did thus far. I mean, everyone else too. My goodness, Vance, all of them.
Mhm.
But I just need a
moment.
I need a moment. Like, yeah, like did that happen?
It just happened. Yes. Tight ball game. Second half became a weather game. And we're going to dive into all the details, of course, as the show goes along.
Yeah.
But tight ball game became a weather game in the second half. And certain situations came up in that game. And it seemed as if the Patriots on the field and coaching-wise handled those situations better. So there'll be some things that I think a number of Bronco players and coaches will looking in the mirror tonight before when they're brushing their teeth, be like, I should have done this and I should have done that. And I wish I had done this. So when it's a game so close, it hurts a lot more than a blowout loss. Because blowout loss, you're just like, oh, but you were in it until the last 2 minutes. Jarrett Stidham throws an interception on a pass that I don't think should have been thrown.
Yep.
Considering the weather conditions in the game.
Yep.
Considering you were just really trying to tie it up and go into overtime and hopefully get the favorable wind and then kick another field goal and win the football game, because offenses had stalled because the weather was so bad. So again, some clear issues with how things were managed there at the end. So Bronco fans can be, I think, overjoyed with what the season was.
Yes.
It was remarkable. It was improbable.
Yes.
I used the words conventional football wisdom many times this year.
Yes, you did.
Trying to, I wouldn't say push back, but give some context to how unusual the Broncos' success has been with all the things that they did that didn't normally mean you're going to be a successful football team. Yet they found ways to do it. And I just talked about the 13 comeback wins this season. So lots of amazing things accomplished. And literally they can look back at this year with a great sense of pride. It probably won't happen for a while.
Right.
Because as you and I both know, after 15 NFL seasons, at the end of every season, we were sad.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've got a wedding ring on my finger, but I do not have a Super Bowl ring on my other hand.
Yeah, well, I don't either.
Yeah, so for 15 years, there was a last game.
Yeah.
And every time we lost that last game. Well, I guess sometimes in the regular season we won, but we didn't go to the playoffs, so it felt like you lost. But
then when we lost the Super Bowl, that just felt like, is this a dream? And that's what it feels like right now to me, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And your words, conventional
football wisdom.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that, right? Mm-hmm. There's also the belief, the see-to-itness, the camaraderie, all of that, right? And today, conventional football wisdom did not play out in my personal belief. We talked a lot about situational football, which would be the wisdom, right? Of knowing the situation, and how to handle the situation.
Executing the situation properly.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, I mean, Romo had mentioned, it's a chess match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard you say that so many times. And Belichick was not there today.
No.
But I remember first hearing you say that about how he coaches the game, and he coaches it like a chess match. Very crafty, very smart, very wise, and clearly knowing the field, right? I've never played the field. Never played the field. But he played
Hopefully
the field
in more ways than one, right? Yes.
100%. But he played the field incredibly well today. And,
Talking about Vrabel?
Talking about Vrabel,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about how, thinking back to all those years ago, when you described the game to me as a chess match and how you watched it has changed how I watched it, right? Now I'm thinking about, well, Vrabel was coached by Belichick, and checkmate, daggone it, right?
It was clear that Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels,
Josh too,
two Belichick disciples,
yes, the tree,
came into that locker room at halftime, said it's about to be a weather game. Weather is going to be a factor.
Mm-hmm.
We got to shorten this thing. We got to take advantage of this first drive of the second half.
Yeah.
Get some points because we don't know what's going to happen after that. The weather forecast was it's going to continue to get worse as the game went along, which it did.
Mm-hmm.
Visibility was an issue. Wind was an issue affecting passes and field goals.
Yeah.
So they took advantage of that situation.
Yeah.
Had that 9-minute and 31-second drive to start the second half. So the situational understanding is what we're talking about here. And those guys clearly understood it and seized it and took advantage of it because they recognized, well, we're getting the ball to start the second half. We'll actually be going into the wind in the fourth quarter, which is going to make things almost impossible for us to throw. So you saw on third down in the fourth quarter, they ran the ball. Why risk something dumb? Let's just punt it and hope our defense can stand up and that the Broncos have similar difficulties moving the ball, which they did. And eventually, Jarrett Stidham's going to get impatient, put the ball up in the air, make a mistake, and that's exactly how it played out.
Y'all, I'm 2 Advils in right now. It's just been a heck of a morning.
Mm.
And when you talk about conventional football wisdom, if you're going to have a weather game, you really got to pay attention to that as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And play the field well. You got to know the conditions on the field. They paid attention. And it worked out for them incredibly, incredibly well. They knew their quarterback. They knew his what is he? He has a lot of turnovers, right?
He fumbled 6 times.
Yeah.
In this in the first 2 playoff games this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all that was brought in and factored in. I'm just at
I can tell your body language, your frustration, your hands over there, all the things are happening to
all of them,
to Kristin Brown. You're going
all
through it over there.
Going through it.
Yes. So, okay. 10-7, amazingly close game. The Patriots find a way to get it done. And I don't want to turn this into a Patriots talk show. But of all the teammates I had in all 15 years in the NFL,
right,
there was no one more suited to be a NFL head coach than Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Sharing a linebacker room with him.
That's right.
How many times I talk about how smart he was?
Absolutely. All the time.
And sometimes I thought to his detriment, he's the smartest guy in the room and needs to show people all the time.
Right.
But from a head coaching perspective, not overlooking the direction of the wind when you decide which way you're going to go. All those kinds of things, recognizing this is our quarter with the wind. We got to seize it here, take advantage of it. And then after that, we'll play keep away and we'll play safe.
Yeah.
And so recognizing all those little small decisions, situational football, using maybe not conventional football wisdom, but well thought out football wisdom.
Yeah.
To eke out a close win. And now they go get to play in Santa Clara and the Broncos get to rue again what could have been. Because there were certainly opportunities in this game, particularly in the first half, which we were going to get to. And I see that text line is moving fast.
Yes.
I see it's moving fast to some of the mistakes and errors.
Yeah.
But before we dive into all that, just to restate, an amazing season.
An
amazing run.
Yeah.
And when Sean Payton was talking about this being a Super Bowl roster earlier this year, I said, I think he's at least a year too early.
Yeah.
And I think the best football for this team is ahead. They've positioned themselves well personnel-wise.
Mhm.
They position themselves well, salary cap-wise.
Mhm.
They don't have to reconfigure the team after this year
Yeah.
because of salary cap implications. So they're well suited for a long run here. So I know this is very disappointing, Bronco fans,
Mhm.
and it should be. When you invest emotionally into something and it doesn't
I
go well,
invested. Yeah.
you can't help but be crushed and be hurt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I would hate to be on a football team or have people around my football team at the end of the season who weren't crushed, because then that means they weren't invested. They didn't
Yeah.
believe. They weren't all bought in.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
so, I would tell my Pop Warner kids when we coached them at the end of the season,
Yes.
sometimes we did win the Super Bowl, and the last year we didn't, and they were crying. I said, let it go. This is how it's supposed to happen. We're supposed to cry at the end of the season and when things don't go our well, because that meant we gave it our all.
Yes.
That meant we poured everything we had into this thing. It's
Mhm.
supposed to hurt because you
Yeah.
gave it everything that was within you. So I understand your feelings.
Yes.
And I understand, well, I haven't read all the text line here, but I understand the text liners and their feelings as well. But yeah, I guess now it's time to dive into what didn't go so well this game, because this year was an amazing run.
It was such an amazing run. And, yeah, I just feel like we absolutely could have won that game today.
Mhm.
I'm sure Bronco Country feels the same way. And that's what makes it even more disappointing is we weren't like outbeat as in the talent of the team,
Right.
even with the backup quarterback.
Correct.
I don't believe that's what lost us the game
No.
today at all. And that is what makes this loss just ache even more, because it wasn't like we just did everything we could possibly do and they just won. It was like we just did some things that we shouldn't have done. And I don't like to shit on people, right? Don't shit on me. I'm not going to shit on you, but I'm going to say we should have today. And I heard you say shoulda as well. So let's should away.
Okay, well, the most obvious shoulda in all this
first quarter
is take the damn points, Sean.
Take the damn points, says
again.
The man.
We knew it was a weather game possible.
We knew. The
forecast was clear that the weather was going to get worse as the game went along. The snow and the wind were going to pick up. So to think
colder,
you could leave points on the field and get another opportunity later.
Yeah.
Well, the later happened in the second half. There was no real way to throw the ball or be effective with that. So, yes, take the dang points. I think there's a text that says that.
Take the dang points. Take the dang points.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, does coach know something about the kicker that we don't know? Like,
there we go. Jason, yes. Take the field goal there. Absolutely, Jason.
Amen and amen.
Yes, and Jason, everyone knows you are not the only one saying that. I said it. You said it.
I was my second Advil in, I think.
They said it so many times.
Yeah.
Jim Nantz and Tony Romo reflecting back on that coaching decision. And so often, coaches get a mentality and a mindset. And Sean Payton's clearly aggressive. He's aggressive play caller. He's aggressive with the media.
Yes.
He's aggressive with Bo Nix on the sideline sometimes when things aren't going the way he wants them to go.
I've seen him aggressive with Vance.
Yes, aggressive with Vance, which I was like, whoa, pump your brakes, homeboy. That's my dog.
Right. I mean, please. Vance has been saving us.
But even when that's your mindset, you have to recognize situational football. You have to recognize that while this is generally what we do, this is generally my mindset, but this game requires a little bit of a different shift in mindset and how we're going to operate here. So in that situation, take the points.
Absolutely.
Take the points.
We were so early into the game. Why are we playing all aggressive and risky? Because then, I mean, it's just a whole different game.
Yes.
Already. Yeah.
I see. Is that Frankie Urban? They did the best they could. Yes. I think the players did. The players
honestly
did the best they could.
Yeah.
And it was just some of those decisions from the sidelines and some of the maybe decisions during the week from a situational perspective.
Yeah.
And a close game, particularly a one-score game like this.
Yeah.
How many times have I said it? It's going to come down to 3 to 5 plays.
This is the playoffs.
Right. So it's going to come down to
playoffs.
3 to 5 plays.
Yeah.
And off the top of my head, I can think of 3 to 5 plays, but number one would be going for it on fourth down.
Yes.
The other one, of course, would be the interception late by Jarrett Stidham. There were a couple of other curious play calls in there as well. Even early on, there was the jet sweep at the 9-yard line. It's like, whoa, Sean, come on, man.
Conventional football wisdom.
Uh-huh.
I might get a sweatshirt that says that. I mean, I like words.
Yes.
I've always got words on my sweatshirt.
Yes, you do. And this one's awesome here.
Yes.
Sorry,
camp football. People be asking me, can you do this? I'm like, do you know what time it is? What day it is? I'm not even sure why you're
Sorry,
calling me
camp
right
football.
now.
Bye.
I'm not
Yes.
sure why you're calling me. But okay, how about when we went for the field goal second time around? The play right before that got a little too cute.
Yes.
It was too much. Let's run back 15 yards. Let's run in circles, all the things, right? But that was how the play was called to go.
Right.
So I'm not even going to blame him at all for that, right? But we lost yards. Now, technically, are we still where Lutz should be able to kick from? Well, sure. But has he kicked in these conditions all years?
No.
Well, no.
This is the only weather game the Broncos have played, which is crazy for a Broncos team, but this is the only weather game they played in all year.
It's been beautiful in Colorado.
Right.
I've enjoyed it.
Yes.
But it showed up. That weather showed up. And we're playing New England. Are you kidding me? They know weather. I know for sure, right? They practice outside all day, every day to get ready for this. No matter whether we were going to have sunshine, rain, they were going to bring the pain and be ready.
A Belichick thing is early in the fall, before it turns to snow in New England, if it's a rain day, we're going to take advantage of the rain. We're going to practice in the rain.
Yes.
And that first snowfall or two, we're not going to go to the bubble. We're going to go practice in the snow so we can practice our footing, so we can make sure you guys know what the right cleats are, so you guys can know what the right shoes are, or the right gloves for this cold weather, so we can be prepared for this situation when it comes. Because often in a weather game, weather becomes a great equalizer, because your speedy receiver, he can't help you in a weather game because we can't throw the ball that far.
Right.
It's too snowy. It's too windy. So the team that handles the situations the best and limits their turnovers typically finds a way to win a weather game. And so you can almost look at this game as two games. The first half, before weather was a factor, and then the second half, once weather became a factor, and who handled those two halves the best.
Yeah, the match part that you talked about, right? And then I'm having a flashback to Deflategate.
Okay.
And that had to do with like the ball and the weather and how the ball loses air, right? Wasn't that what it was?
Colder weather.
Yeah.
The ball will have less air pressure inside the ball because the temperature will affect the air pressure. Yes.
Therefore, the ball
is easier. It's easier to grip. But it's, NFL obviously had some pushbacks on what may have happened with all those balls.
may or may not.
Yes. Team was fined. All the things happened there. Yes.
Yeah, but science is going to tell you it's not going to throw the same.
No, it does
not going to travel through the air the same.
No, it does not.
All the things.
Punting. We saw the last several punts of the game were very short.
Yeah.
You can't throw the ball as far in the weather conditions. Correct.
So to practice in that's a big deal. I don't know how the Broncos practiced this week, how they prepped.
I believe on Thursday they were indoors.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know it kind of looked like perhaps we wouldn't have weather. But who's from Denver watching this show?
Most.
Anyone?
Yes.
Anyone? Right? Who knows for sure that the weather can change on a dime?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was that Bronco Maniac. Want to put that one up for us? One more up. That's the one. Lutz freaking blew it hard. I'm going to push back.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back. I think that weather was significant.
Yeah.
The Patriots kicker missed a field goal as well, correct?
He did. I think did he miss like two? Or an extra point or something? No.
Not an extra point.
No. But he definitely missed at least one, which was kind of an equalizer.
Yep.
But again, that play that I was speaking of a second ago when we lost yardage and then Lutz missed by only a little bit. It went a little bit wide to the right. If we had not lost that yardage,
correct,
and instead of trying to get cute, I felt like, certainly I've never played the field. I felt like if we had just gone to the running back and tried to get a little bit forward, perhaps that kick would have gone through because it was a weather game. and it was missed only by a little.
Okay, so the Patriots kicker was 1 for 3. He missed 2 field goals, to your point.
Boom.
Will Lutz
Boom.
was Will Lutz, sorry, was 0 for 1.
Yeah.
And that was tipped by a guy who the Patriots brought up from practice squad last night.
Wow.
And I'm
For
not sure
such a time as this.
I'm not sure how many other snaps he played.
Okay.
And how tall he is.
Yeah.
But the Broncos have a former basketball player who plays tight end, and he was activated last week. And Brandon Cristal and I were talking about what could he be possibly be activated for? Maybe, and Brandon astutely said maybe he's brought in to try to block a field goal.
Okay.
So as soon as that block happened in this game,
Oof.
and Jim Nantz and Tony Romo said this guy was brought up from the practice squad last night. And I thought, it's the little micro moves. It's a little small chess moves, because I doubt that guy had a massive role in the game.
Yeah.
But end up having a massive role in the win.
Yeah.
He may only played 2 or 3 plays.
Yeah.
But he had a massive role in the win by getting a fingertip on that ball, affecting that kick from Will Lutz.
It's amazing how just a couple of plays
3 to 5
change everything. You always say that.
Yes.
3 to 5 plays changes the game. And if we could have just 2 of those plays back,
yeah, you can get them all
I
back.
believe we could have won this game.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm over here just sad, y'all. I'm just sad. Okay.
Yep. So we are expecting Brandon Cristal.
Yes.
I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a longer time before Brandon comes to us. Typically a losing locker room in a playoff game, which unfortunately I've experienced, is a sad place, and players are not quick to talk. And the head coach typically has something to say for a while, and it's a while before the media comes in. They want to give everybody a chance to, get a breather and get themselves ready to deal with cameras and microphones in their face and saying, tell me what went wrong. Tell me what happened.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Yeah.
What would you do differently? So I'd imagine we will get Brandon, but it'll be a while. But Brandon will be able to give us the mood and the sense from Sean Payton. Maybe he has a chance to reflect on some of his play calls in the locker room and how they're feeling about this loss. And maybe some guys have enough bandwidth to be introspective and reflect on the season overall.
Yeah, I hope they'll still be proud of themselves and what they were able to accomplish this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got?
Broncos Maniac also talked about how the O-line got outplayed. So there were a number of times where Jared Stidham was pressured.
Yes.
And so I think it could be easily said that, to the Bronco Maniac's point, the O-line got outplayed. Well, the Patriots defense is pretty good.
Right. So we should have prepared for that, correct?
We should have prepared for that.
Okay.
And they've got some talented pass rushers.
Yes.
And those guys are going to win their share of battles. So despite the Broncos offensive line being considered by Pro Football Focus the best pass blocking unit in all the NFL, it's the playoffs, the championship game. Those guys get paid millions of dollars too. They're all trying to go to Super Bowl too. So they're going to get theirs. But when your quarterback continues to back up out of the pocket, that makes the offensive line job so much more difficult.
Yes.
The best quarterbacks step up into the pocket. So if I had a criticism for Jarrett Stidham today, I thought outside of that particular thing where he was pressured, he handled himself well. But once you start backing up out of the pocket, then bad things happen.
Yes.
You can get a sack instead of being a 7-yard sack. Now it's a 17-yard sack.
Yes.
And the chances of that drive continuing are pretty slim.
Yes.
When you go backwards in the pocket, well, you're giving more guys a chance to get a shot on you.
Yeah.
And chance for you to do something dumb, like the, grounding, which ended up not being a grounding, which ended up being a backwards pass, which ended up giving the Patriots a short field, which the refs blew the whistle, so it wasn't a touchdown. But then Drake May recognizes the Broncos in man defense, runs in for a touchdown. So that's the bad stuff that happens when you back up out of the pocket rather than stepping up into the pocket.
Stepping up into the pocket. Okay, so like I said, and I'll say it again, I've never played the field, but I've watched a lot of football.
Give it to me,
okay?
Kristin.
And I see these quarterbacks step up, right? So if I was playing, hopefully it'd be flagged because y'all would take me out. I would think I got to step up.
Right.
Because I've watched the greatest, and that's what they did. Peyton Manning comes to mind. Stepped up. So do we fault him for that, or do we fault how he's coached to play? Like, why is there so much, let's back up way too far and then run for our lives?
Gosh, I'd want to go back to look at the last 2 games he started late in that 2023 season. One was in 2023, one was in January of 24 against the Raiders and the Chargers, to see if that was an issue then, because he started the full game.
Okay.
And I can imagine, as a guy who, you get the reps in the meetings, you get the reps in 7-on-7 in practice when there's no offensive defensive line.
That's probably fun.
And it's just, you diagnosing the pass patterns and who's open and looking at what coverage the defense is in. All those are great.
Yeah.
You can get those reps.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get anything resembling a live pass rush during practice.
Right.
The quarterback typically wears like a red jersey. That's a signal to everybody, don't touch this dude.
Mm-hmm.
So as a defender in practice, you may work your move and try to beat the offensive lineman, but then you get into the quarterback and you do this. That's what you're taught to do, because we don't even want to get close to the quarterback, because what if he throws and he hits his hand on some practice squad guy's helmet, breaks his thumb, and now the season is over.
Right.
So everyone stays away from the quarterback. So that's one of the more difficult things for a quarterback to get reps at if he's not getting live reps in the game.
Okay.
So for Jarrett Stidham, his lack of reps, I think, showed up mostly in that.
Okay.
Rather than being comfortable, stepping up, keeping his eyes down the field, he felt that pressure and then backed up. What that does is makes the offensive line more difficult, because now instead of, as a pass rusher, me coming around the edge to the quarterback, I just got to run straight.
Fastest place, fastest way to get there.
Right. And then if he steps up into the pocket, not only do I have to get around my offensive lineman, now I got to completely change direction and chase him down from behind. So it makes life much more difficult for me as a pass rusher.
Yeah.
If you step up. And then you also keep your eyes downfield.
Yeah.
And you can find a receiver. But now when you're backing up, you can't throw effectively backing up. You can't throw accurately off your back leg.
Yeah.
So that was I thought, the most glaring weakness he showed today, and it was most likely due to lack of reps.
Okay.
I think if he were to start a game or two during the course of the season, then that probably wouldn't have been as big of an issue.
Okay.
But that was major today with some of the ineffectiveness of the Broncos offense, but they still had a chance to win despite that.
They did. And I saw him run a couple of times early on, and I was like, okay, that's good. Give the defense something to keep him honest, right? And then that seemed to go away. And then we were so committed to the passing game, which I also found to be very interesting in this type of weather, because like we talked about, science, physics, geometry, all the things, the cold weather is going to change everything. The field conditions are going to change everything. Even your receiver running his route is not going to be the same timing as it was when you practiced it in the bubble, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And so, speaking to the run game, it was said during the broadcast, I think it was the Broncos drive that started in the first quarter but ended in the second quarter. By that point, they had 13 rushing attempts. And I thought, okay, Sean Payton is actually going to do some situational football, and he's going to recognize he's got his backup quarterback and not ask too much of him.
Yeah.
And he's going to run the ball and try to wear down this New England defense. And maybe it won't be super effective here early, but in the fourth quarter, when it turns into a weather game, when you're cold and your hands are cold and you can't grab any more cloth, and this dude's been running at you all game, now it's going to end up being a broken tackle for R.J. Harvey or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, we ended up with 24 carries. So that promising running attack went away a bit. So that was an issue. And then on the other side, for Drake May, that was the best part of his game when he ran the ball. Drake May had 10 carries for 65 yards.
10
carries.
10. Let's count them.
Yeah, along a 68. Ramondre Stevenson carried the ball 25 times for 71 yards. He only had a 2.8 yard average, but again, it's understanding the situation, understanding what you want to do. We don't need to have explosive runs. We want to chew up the clock from a Patriots perspective in the second half.
Yep.
We want to wear this defense down.
Yep.
And we want to have this long drive that shortens the game. And so that's what the run game does. And so when people are like, the Broncos, they still find ways to win, going back to the conventional football wisdom thing we talk about.
Right.
I'm like, but you got to run the ball because it's this and it does this and it does this. And eventually it's going to catch up with them.
Right.
Well, how long have I been saying that?
Right.
And now again, in the most critical game of the season, it catches up with them, because I don't think you can ever fully escape conventional football wisdom. There's just some truisms to this game. And at some point, you're going to come across a team that does that better than you do, and you're going to find yourself losing because you didn't follow conventional football wisdom.
Wisdom. It's a good word.
Fun word, right?
At all costs,
Yes.
get wisdom.
Okay. Okay. Good to hear Sean Payton take responsibility for some of the decisions in the press conference. Okay. We haven't had a chance to see that because we jumped into the studio right after the game.
Yeah.
Roll on next season. The Broncos will be a serious force. Go Broncos. And that's from Richard Addison. Yes, Richard, I completely agree. The best for the Broncos is coming up. Bo Nix will be better and recovered. Nick Bonito will be a year stronger and a year better. Jonathan Cooper will be better. Pat Surtain will be better. There's
Franklin,
no old
Moss,
guys.
yeah.
There's no old guys in this
Mims,
team.
yeah.
Riley Moss will be better for the gauntlet that he went through this year. J.K. Dobbins will be back and will be healthy from the foot injury. This offensive line is still under contract. There's so many reasons why this team is going to be really, really good in the future. And again, I don't think that this was their Super Bowl window, their only shot here. Now, of course, with Vrabel and the Patriots and them being a young team as well, this game that we saw today, I predict over the next 4 or 5 years, we will see this a number of times in the playoffs. And the NFL loves to schedule playoff battles in the next season as a non-conference or non-division game. So we may see them again in the regular season and probably again in the playoffs. So this is going to be interesting, this chess match that could go on literally for years.
Wow, that's so true.
Between Mike Vrabel and Sean Payton.
That's so true.
And Drake May and Bo Nix. And I was going to say Vance Joseph, but Vance Joseph, as much as I would love for him to stay here, there's still a number of job openings left, and I'm assuming now he's going to shift his focus fully onto trying to get one of those head coaching opportunities out there. Maybe a place where we reside in the winter could be his number one destination. Yes.
Wow. Well, I would hope he would consider staying, and I would hope they would make it lucrative, because I can see this team going back and winning it all next year. And then imagine the coaching job. That would be so timely and so perfect. But, we'll see what Vance chooses to do. We went to college with Vance, so we've known him not forever, but it feels like a super long time.
35 years.
No. Now you're telling people how old I am.
I've known him for 35 years. You've known him for like
I've known
15.
him for like 10 minutes.
Yes,
I'm saying I've been a long time, and, since I was 12 or something. Who knows? Yeah, we absolutely could have won that game today, and that's what hurts the most. But I would say first quarter matchup completely went to the Broncos.
Outside of the 4th and 1, I thought it was a well-played quarter. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well played. And then we moved on to the second. Whew. Okay. Do we have any more questions we should get to before we dive in some more?
Okay. Let's see if we got something coming up here.
The weather game aspect was so interesting because last week we saw the Patriots have so much success in that weather game. And honestly, y'all, we used to play for the Patriots.
Right.
But this kid named Bo came along. I told y'all about that.
Right.
This kid named Bo came along, kind of won my heart. I had my jersey on, became literally a fan. I never thought it was going to happen for me, but it did. So watching that game, I was rooting against the Patriots. Facts.
Yes,
Facts.
this is true.
Because I thought, I don't want to see them next week. And then I looked at our weather and I thought, okay, right now it's forecasted to be good. But, it's Denver. Anything can happen. And the Patriots were like, that was the last team I wanted to see come to Denver. But again, we could have won that game. It's going to be hard for me to move on from this. So who's commiserating with me?
Long story short over there.
Yes.
Okay. Now we can't, we've talked about some of the negatives, particularly for the Broncos offense. At the same time, the Broncos defense was tremendous. Drake May, 10 of 21.
Yeah.
Only 86 yards passing. Sacked 5 times. And so even the rushing, Drake May made some plays with his legs, but I've talked about Ramondre Stevenson, 25 carries for 71 yards, only a 2.8 1.8-yard average. Trayvon Henderson, 3 carries for 5 yards, a 1.7-yard average. So outside of the Drake May runs, which was the biggest part of the Patriots' offensive attack today,
Yeah.
the Broncos defense was awesome.
Yes.
Was absolutely awesome. So it took this coaching chess match and this understanding of situational football from Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels,
as well as that wisdom.
Yes, to eke out this incredibly close win.
Yeah.
But because of the performance from VJ and the Broncos defense, it makes the errors or issues on the offensive side of the ball even more glaring.
Yes.
And some of those play calls.
Yes.
Knowing what you had on your defense, knowing how good those guys were playing, how well they performed. They didn't give up a touchdown today. Technically, they did, but the Patriots got it because of the short field.
Yeah, I mean, I could have ran that ball in.
Right.
You give me the ball there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so even that first drive of the second half where the Patriots held the ball for 9 minutes and 31 seconds,
yeah,
you knew that drive was not going to have success in the red zone because the Broncos defense is so good in the red zone.
Yeah.
So, again, that's what makes the offensive play calling and some of those choices even more glaring for me, where you didn't understand the situation. You didn't take it into all account here, how this thing was most likely going to play out.
Because even after that 4th and 1, when Sean decided to be aggressive, at not really a good time to do that, you just, like you said, you go for the points. The defense came in and they held them. So then it was our turn to go try to get some football, try to get some points. And we did not do that. So next thing you know, 3 and out again, and our defense is back on the field. So yeah, I have to say kudos. Vance Joseph and the defense did a really good job today. Now, what did you think halftime? Like, what did you think about the adjustments that were made?
Again, I can totally picture having been in a locker room with Josh McDaniels and hearing him come out of the coaches' little huddle they have and talk to his offense.
Yeah.
And having been in a halftime with Mike Vrabel many times as a player.
Yeah.
And him literally standing up and talking with Matt Patricia or talking with Bill Belichick about what the adjustments are going to be. I can see those guys having a conversation about weather game. We got to find a way to shorten it. We got to take advantage of the wind while it's in our direction.
Yep.
And we're going to just try to out-physical these dudes. But we are not going to make a mistake.
Okay.
And so that was their conversation. That's the way they came out and approached the second half. Sean Payton, again, got away from the run game, as we talked about earlier here in the show.
I think we've been talking about that almost in every show.
We're talking about pretty much every show. There's only been 1 or 2 games where they really fed the ball consistently.
Yeah.
And this week, in some of the media appearances, Sean Payton essentially pushed back on somebody who was asking about running the ball. And he said, well, we won. And so I thought, again, I know you won, but conventional football wisdom, here's that phrase again, says you can get by with that for a while, but eventually that will catch up to you. So to have 13 carries in the first quarter and couple of minutes, and then only 11 for the rest of the game, you weren't understanding the situation. You weren't understanding how the other side was going to choose to play the game.
Yeah.
You weren't understanding how they were going to choose to shorten it, how they were going to try to wear your defense down. So that opportunity there was lost, I think, by not continuing to run the football.
Yeah. So that makes me think of a talk we also had before about don't be proud of that. Right. Now, we should be proud of every single win. We're not going to apologize for wins.
Right.
But it's like, oh, I passed my test with a B+. I didn't study. Okay. Don't be proud of that. Study next time.
Right.
Okay, you won. Let's run the ball more because of conventional wisdom in football. So you feel like the adjustment was a good pep talk?
I thought it was good from the Patriots side because they changed their game plan. Yes. And they recognized that their quarterback, I'm not sure how they beat either the Rams or the Seahawks. By the way, Seahawks ahead of the Rams 7-0, 9:57 to go in the first quarter. Yes. It's like the Chad and Kristin Brown weekend.
Right.
And Steelers are out, but definitely play for the Seahawks, play for the Patriots, live here in Denver.
Bo's won my heart.
Raised in Southern California.
Yeah. All the things.
So all the things are happening here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure what Sean's halftime adjustment was.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots it was clear what they wanted to do. And it was evident on that first drive of the third quarter. I don't think there was a whole lot of difference that Sean was trying to do to make Jarrett Stidham and the offense have more success.
It felt ambiguous. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Do we not realize we have to win in order to go to the Super Bowl? I was like,
I hope they got that part.
I just felt like, do we not know what's happening right now? Y'all, this is it. Mom spaghetti, right? Eminem, if you don't know that line. This was it. This was our shot. So I felt like, is it ambiguous? What's happening? Because with whatever Vrabel said, and you've heard him, you've been with all those guys before, it seemed like it was clear and concise.
We're going to run the ball.
Go out there.
We're going to shorten the game. Offensive line, this is on you. Running backs, hold the damn football.
Hold it.
And they came out, and that's what they did for the rest of the second half.
And it worked.
Yes. Yeah. And so there we go.
Okay.
What's this comment from Eric Stiddy? I'm Eric. I'm sorry. I don't want to try to say your last name because I feel like it's a few too many vowels for me. I don't want to screw it up. Stiddy could have secured his future in the league with this game, but I don't think he took advantage. Yes, there was an opportunity, and we've seen lots of quarterbacks with short windows have an incredible game or two, and parlay that into a 20 or 30 or $50 million a year deal.
Yeah.
And so Stiddy, while being probably one of the highest paid backups in the league, unfortunately will probably continue to be a backup unless there's going to be a team that's going to be desperate or they're drafting in the top 5 picks and, hey, we'll bring this guy to be our bridge quarterback until this rookie draft choice becomes a guy. Yeah. Stiddy had an opportunity here. Yeah.
He did. But how much of that is play calling, though? I mean, with the lack of reps that he had, I feel like your play calling needs to be so good for this guy who not only hasn't played in a weather game probably in quite a while, he hasn't had any real live action games like you spoke of just a bit ago, where he really had to play where he would get hit, where any of these things would come to fruition. So I wonder, how much was it the lack of play time? How much was it the play calling? Yeah.
Well, I think the play time showed up with the backing out of the pocket rather than stepping up. The playtime also showed up when he was behind his receivers with his throws. Like things were just moving a little too fast for him. So when I was taking notes on the drives, okay, it's another one behind the receiver, another one behind the receiver. And obviously in the playoffs, things move faster than they do in the regular season. So from a playtime perspective, and then there was again a few calls from Sean Payton that I'm sure he would love to have back. So when he and Skylene, is that his wife's name?
Yeah.
Yes, or
she's beautiful, by the way.
Sitting around the house tonight. Well, so are you. So I'll take that.
Thank you.
Yes. That he's going to say, I wish I had done this. I wish I had called that.
Yeah. The I wishes. Ooh. And the I should have.
Yes.
And the shouldn'ts. Yeah. Those are tricky. It makes us the off season even longer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we got to hear from Linda. Hope things could have went our way. Weather played a part. We could have won this game. Linda, perfectly phrased. Yeah. There were certainly opportunities to win this game. And again, there's those 3 to 5 plays which were not executed well. The 4th and 1 going for it, should have took the points there. The interception, there were a couple of other plays in there as well that made a difference in the ball game. An incredibly close ball game.
Incredibly close. We could have had 6 points.
Yes.
In addition, right? Because we should have had the field goal, right? And gone for the points. And then without the whatever was happening back there, we ended up being further back when Lutz just barely missed that kick. That
3rd down call was not a great call.
Right.
Jarrett
So I mean,
Stidham,
that's a big deal right
backing
there.
out of the pocket, the backwards pass, which ended up being called a fumble, which gave the Patriots a short field. So literally, there was opportunities to win this game, and off the top of our head, there's 4 plays right there that all made a difference and could have changed the outcome of this game.
Yeah, we certainly lost 6, and then we gave them 7.
Yes.
Y'all, that's bad math. That's bad math.
That is bad math. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Again, we're waiting on Brandon Cristal. Hopefully he'll be joining us after he leaves the Broncos locker room and gets set up. Maybe he'll be on the field. I'm not sure if all the wind and snow. I'm not sure. We're in the studio, so I'm not sure what's happening out there. How bad it is. Or Brandon will be joining us from the that hallway inside Broncos Stadium, trying to join us.
That short walk from the car to the to the studio. Woo,
Yeah, it's
brutal.
crazy out there.
It's tough.
All right. I saw a text that was kind of looking forward to the future. What positions? Here we go. Richard Addison, what position should the Broncos be looking to improve on in free agency? I don't know if they need a ton of improvement at a bunch of positions.
Okay.
If we think about let's run them through.
Okay.
Offensively, I'd love for them to be a better run blocking unit. But in today's NFL, if you're going to say, which do I want, a better run blocking unit or a better pass blocking unit, you're going to take better pass blocking every time.
Okay. Tell me why, really quick.
Just because of the yardage possibility in throwing the ball.
Okay.
As much as as a defensive guy, say run the dang ball, you still got to pass the ball. Still going to be 3rd and 12 where you got to be effective passing the ball.
But that's why you run the ball, right? You always tell me you got to run the ball so you can pass the ball.
Well, you run the ball on 1st and 2nd down to make the situation on 3rd down shorter.
Yeah.
So you can have 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5.
Yeah.
Ideally.
And keep the defense honest.
Right. But
yeah.
even occasionally, there's still going to be a 3rd and 10 that comes up.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So if you're going to weigh those two out, I can see why George Payton has assembled a group that is better pass blockers and run blockers. But there's still Quinn Miners. He's been one of the best run blockers in the NFL, playing right guard for you. So there's a guy you can run behind and tush push behind and quarterback sneak behind because he's just an absolute road grader out there. Bo Nix is only going to get better as time goes along.
Yes.
The running back room. I think we've got something in RJ Harvey. He was very effective slipping tackles today.
I like that, slipping tackles.
Yeah, because he doesn't really break them.
Yeah.
It's not like he gets contact. He kind of slips and slides and turns what looks to be a 2-yard gain to 5 yards or a 5-yard gain to 8 yards. He falls forward. He maximizes his carries.
Yeah.
When J.K. Dobbins gets healthy, he adds an element to this run game as well. I think Tyler Bidet can play as well. So they've got some talent back there in the running back room. Tight end room still leaves a little bit to be desired.
Okay.
When you think about some of the great tight ends.
Okay.
Las Vegas Raiders has Brock Bowers. He's probably the best young tight end in the game. Obviously, Bronco fans are going to be familiar with Travis Kelce and the dominance that he has been a part of for the Chiefs.
Yes.
And what he's meant to Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
We don't have anybody like that. Evan Ingram has been a little disappointing this season, considering what we thought he could possibly be. So maybe that'd be the one room.
Okay.
Who is it? Richard Addison. There we go. That I would improve on the offensive side of the ball. The wide receiver room is going to continue to get better. We got banged up here late in the season. Pat Bryant was out with a concussion, then came back, had the hamstring pull. So he was out early this game. Troy Franklin was out with the hamstring. Cortland Sutton, it wasn't a real passing kind of game today.
Right.
And I think their lack of reps with Jarrett Stidham showed up a bit. The guys just probably weren't on the same page where, well, I'm expecting the ball to be here. And I'm sure Jarrett Stidham would say, well, I was expecting you to be there. And so that's why these passes were a little bit behind. But I don't think that room needs an overhaul.
Okay.
Defensively, front four can get after the quarterback, can stop the run. Linebacker group, Singleton is an absolute warrior coming back from a testicular cancer. 14 tackles last week. I don't have the numbers on him today, but I'm sure he was probably leading tackler again for this football team. His pass game defense has improved considerably over the last couple of years. So I don't think we need an improvement there. And the secondary, we're obviously talented. We've got even the backups who had to play this year. PJ Locke coming in late from the safety position have been good. Jaquan McMillan's one of the top 3 nickel corners in the NFL. I would say maybe a bigger defensive lineman and maybe a linebacker who's a little bit more run focused. If you come across a team who just wants to pound it on you, because that's the way to attack this defense, as we saw that first drive of the second half with the Patriots. And we saw last week, the Bills did that. They had a number of explosive plays running right at this Broncos defense. So this defense is built to run around, to get after the quarterback, which they did at an incredible way. You still need 1 or 2 guys who can be those run-stopping kind of guys. So I know that's a long way of answering your question there, Richard, but I don't think a position group needs a complete overhaul. Maybe an addition in tight end room, and then on the defensive line and then inside linebacker group, some guys who are a little bit more thumper run focused.
Okay. Well, that being said, so since we've done so well in order to get some really good early draft picks, we would have to like trade up and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I wonder how that's all going to shape out.
Well, yeah, but in these rooms that we need, that we just talked about having some improvements in, a true run stuffing defensive tackle is probably not going to go early in the draft.
Okay, that's good to know.
Those truly great defensive tackles who can play the run and get after the quarterback,
Yeah.
those are the guys who go early.
Okay.
But a 345-pound nose guard or defensive tackle, you can pick up that guy in the second or third round.
Okay.
A run stuffing linebacker, linebackers are drafted now on quickness and range.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find a run stuffing linebacker somewhere.
Okay.
To get a truly great tight end, with the way those guys are becoming more and more valued, we're watching the game with the Rams and the Seahawks, who put multiple tight ends on the field almost every single play.
Mm-hmm.
This is a copycat league. There's going to be a demand for tight ends over the next couple of years. Things are shifting this way with multiple tight end sets. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get that one guy who can be a Brock Bowers or a Travis Kelce or a Gronk. And again, we're talking about, those are all very special players, generational type players.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's in the cards for the Broncos considering their draft order.
Interesting, your word choice, copycat league.
It is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see that. But then I see times where the copycatting's not happening. And I'm curious about that. Like when you look around and see what works and you go, no, I think I know better.
You would be surprised. And all you guys at home, you would be surprised as well about the amount of football that some coaches know. Because you think he's an NFL coach.
Okay.
He must have this incredibly wide football knowledge.
Oh, that's frightening.
No, you got into the league and you mentored under this particular guy.
So nepotism? Is this nepotism?
Well, no, but you learned under that guy. So you learned that guy's style and system.
Okay.
And then you went on, you got another job some other place because they said, we need somebody who brings that style to us.
Yeah.
And so you never were forced to learn a different style or a different scheme or a different way.
Wow.
So that's why some teams are so focused on what they do rather than what's contemporary, what's effective, what's successful. This is what my personnel says I should do. No. I don't care if it's trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. This is a scheme that I run. This is what we do. And so for an example of that would be from our career, as we like to say, R and we.
Thank you, honey.
Yes, because
I was there.
You
with
were
the
there.
Advil and all the things.
Advil and wound care and
babies on tote,
changing the bloody sheets when I got turf burns and blood all over the sheets, all the things.
Yep.
Okay, so being in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
We were a run-based football team, but then we recognized, we got a good group of receivers. So the year we went to the Super Bowl and played the Cowboys, we ran the football, but then once third down came around, we went with 5 wide receivers because this is what we had available.
Right.
Well, fast forward a year after that, then Cordell Stewart is there and he's the backup quarterback. And Bill Cowher says, this dude is too good to sit on the bench and to only play him as a backup quarterback.
Right.
So then Slash gets invented.
Yes.
So the offseason, the coaches spent a lot of time watching college football tapes of what college quarterbacks did.
Yeah.
Put those plays into the Steelers offense. And then Cordell Stewart becomes the most versatile player in the NFL.
Yes.
He plays quarterback. He runs. He throws. He even punted a few times.
Yes.
Because that's a coach taking advantage of what his players can do, not being so system oriented. Then we leave Pittsburgh and we go to Seattle. And after 2 years of Dennis Erickson, Mike Holmgren becomes a coach. Mike Holmgren is a disciple of Bill Walsh. They run the West Coast offense. And so Mike Holmgren was only going to do the West Coast offense. He was not going to vary. Come what may. He even had a strict run-pass ratio. 60 pass, 40 run.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was like, but if situational football comes up, why are you still trying to achieve some ratio that doesn't matter to anybody except to you in your mind? The only thing that matters is the scoreboard really here. So he was so slavish to it, I thought it was to our detriment.
Okay.
Then we move from Seattle, we go to New England. And New England is the master of This is what we got. This is what they got.
Yep.
This is what we do well. This is what they do well. And we'll come up with something every week that's unique and different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So within that, we played the Pittsburgh Steelers on a Monday night game, or it was a Sunday night game. It was a night game.
Okay.
And the Steelers had the number 1 ranked run defense in the league. So what did Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady do?
Mm-hmm.
We
That
threw the
Vrabel
ball.
witnessed.
That Vrabel witnessed and was a part of.
Yes.
They threw the ball 30 times in a row
Mm.
because this is the best run defense in the league. Why slam your head into a brick wall?
Mm-hmm.
I heard Belichick say that all week,
Mm.
and I knew we were going to throw the ball. But to throw it 30 straight times,
Yeah, that's like unheard of.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the flexibility that I'm talking about. This is why
Mm.
coaches take advantage of trends
Yeah.
and why some coaches can't. So to
Mm.
speak specifically to this Rams and Seahawks thing,
Mm-hmm.
they go with multiple tight ends on the field
Okay.
because it forces you as a defense, if you're the defense that responds to personnel, well, they got tight ends on the field. We got to put our linebackers on the field because what if they run the
Mm.
ball?
Wow.
Well, then once the defense puts linebackers on the field,
Yeah.
then those Rams and Seahawks, they throw the ball because they want to take advantage of those, you having linebackers on the
Of
field.
course. Yeah.
Oh, you put your nickel backs on the field or your safeties on the field. Well, now we're going to run the ball because now we're bigger than you. So the rest of the league is going to recognize the difficulty that those two teams present to a defense
Okay.
from how to match up personnel.
Mm.
So we will see. Very long-winded answer here.
It's
Lots of
good
details.
though. I love the details.
So we will see why tight ends are going to be more valuable for
Okay.
NFL franchises over the next couple of seasons.
Wow.
Because if you put those guys on the field, the defense is forced from a personnel standpoint to respond to that.
Okay.
And if you have good enough pass receiving tight ends, you can make the defense wrong every time
Wow. But you cannot be slavish.
to your style.
You cannot be slavish.
You got to be willing to do this.
Mhm.
And so Sean Payton is not a 2 tight end or a
Mhm.
3 tight end kind of guy.
Mhm.
That's not his style.
Mm.
So now we'll see if he's going to adopt some of this next season because it's
Okay.
clearly working for the Rams and
Yeah.
Seahawks.
Well, I think about to be a strong leader, you've got to be adjustable, you've got to be adaptable.
Mhm.
And to go back to what you taught me all those years ago about looking at it as a chess match, well, then if you're looking at your field, right, your board,
Mhm.
your players, and what you've got, that's how you coach the game.
Mhm.
You don't coach it by 60%, 40%, whatever.
Nope.
You don't coach it by, you know, we're just a pass offense. That's what we do. You coach it by what you got. I remember you even telling me if he's a strong 7, then you give him strong 7 things to do.
Mhm.
You don't try to make him be a 10.
Nope.
He's a strong 7, and that's okay.
Yes.
You're going to have some strong 7s.
Yeah. And we need strong 7s. Every player on your
Yeah.
roster can't be a 10
Yeah.
because you wouldn't fit under the salary cap. So-
Facts.
So if you've got your 7s, how do I put my 7 out of 10? How do
yeah.
I put my 7 into a position to be successful?
Yeah.
How do I ask things of him that he can do instead
Yeah.
of demanding he do things that he can't do?
So in my naive, never played the field mind
uh.
goes to what do I want to see different next year? I want to see better, look at the field, look at the board. Who's a 7, who's a 10? What are they strong at? What are they weak at? And then like you said, study, look at what we're coming up against because they're going to study you if they're not slavish, right?
Right.
And play according to that. That's how you draw up how you're going to play the game. That's how you play the field, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm sure Vrabel looked at what happened last week because it's not like we just blew them out, like we just commanded, right?
No.
We won,
Overtime. Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
We won in overtime, but you could see all those little cracks and holes and kinks and issues and attack them. And I felt like they did that today.
They did, particularly in the second half, because
Yeah.
the Bills had a number of explosive run plays,
Mhm.
and that's I think the Patriots decided let's just pound the ball on these guys, chew up the clock, shorten the game, and I think that coaching decision, that halftime adjustment, is what did it.
Mhm.
Because if the game had been longer, I think Sean Payton may have had an opportunity to come up with a great play call or something like that. But
Mhm.
Vrabel recognized, let's shorten this thing, let's limit possessions. Let's keep it as short and small as possible because that guy over there
Mhm.
can make some good play
Yeah.
calls.
Mhm.
And Jarrett Stidham, having been a former Patriot, Josh McDaniels coached former Patriot,
Right. Like he
recognizing-
brought him in.
because there was a long pass play early in the first half
Yes.
to Mims,
Yeah.
which got the Broncos into scoring position.
Yeah. I think it was the first quarter even.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was more than capable.
Absolutely.
So Vrabel made the right decision to shorten the game and limit the opportunities for the Broncos.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
Okay. Look at Eric has a comment there on the very last one from Facebook. Now that Wilson is off the books, let's get some wide receiver help. I'll be curious to see what they're going to do now that they've got, because 2 years ago, the dead cap hit for Russell Wilson was $53 million.
This whole money thing blows my mind. Yeah.
This year, I think it was down to $35 million. So Russell Wilson will be completely off the books for the Denver Broncos.
Hey, goodbye.
So for the Broncos, not only does the salary cap typically increase somewhere between 7 and 10% every year, but now you've got this massive opening because you no longer have to account for all the money that Russell Wilson stole from the Walton Penner Group. Good for him. Bad for the Broncos. And bad for me to be born 30 years too early.
It was different money back then. That's for sure.
So yes, to Eric's point, there will be money to spend. And do you go after a true game-changing wide receiver? Do you go after one of those guys?
Wow. Yeah.
Because if you're going to make this offense more explosive and more dangerous, to have a receiver who's a threat to take the top off the defense on any given play, that would present some great play calling possibilities for Sean Payton. And clearly, no matter what defense they play, well, we got to account for that dude.
Right.
He can score on any play.
Right.
Outside of that, again, I'm not sure what else you could do. You don't want to spend money just to spend money. I know the Walton Penner Group has tons of it.
Oh, maybe they'll give me some.
Yes. So hopefully I'll be right behind you in line when we're passing it out. But yeah, but I don't, again, I'm not seeing this glaring hole or weakness, but to go out and improve your roster, you have to do that because your improvement every year is not in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Everybody in your division is going to find ways to improve.
Yeah.
Kansas City brought back Eric Bieniemy, who was the play caller when they had their best offenses a few years ago.
Yeah.
Another Colorado Buffalo. Another schoolmate
That's another
of
one
ours.
of our buddies. I can't help but be happy for Eric.
Yes. So they'll be probably improved.
Yeah.
The Chargers, I think they're going to find ways to shore up their offensive line was shored up until they ran into a string of injuries. But those guys will be back next year. So they'll be healthier.
Ooh, it's going to be some good football.
And Justin Herbert will probably be another year better.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Wow.
And clearly the Raiders, who finished the season as the worst team in football. But as we just saw with Mike Vrabel and the Patriots, if you get the right coach and you get the right quarterback, it's pretty amazing what you can do. So this division, the AFC West, right now the Raiders have to be fourth, but I'm sure people were saying that about the Patriots coming into this year after last year when they were 4-13.
Didn't they have some kind of record, like of how many wins on the road for
this year?
Yeah.
This I think they won 10 games on the road this year, which is an NFL record.
Yeah.
They have not lost on the road all year.
Yeah. So we don't go for the points. Okay. Should I get off of that? No, I'm still on it.
Okay.
So we didn't go for the points. Well, okay. So let's circle back to what you said. You're not really seeing holes. You're not really seeing these strong weaknesses, right? To get a tight end would be amazing, but it's hard to find someone with all that wizardry, right? So we have talked a ton. BK's ready.
Okay.
But we've talked a ton about play calling. So maybe that's where the hole is.
All right. We welcome in Brandon Cristal. Oh, nice. They're letting you do it from the press box, it looks like.
Well, press box field, I don't know if it's about letting. I see all of our friends in TV that were more prepared for the snow to broadcast. I knew the snow was coming, but they just usually have a TV camera and maybe like a backpack. I use my laptop, was not really equipped with like a full tent situation to cover the laptop. So I figured I'd come upstairs and find room in a suite and just chat for a couple of minutes with you guys about what turned out to be obviously a disappointing end to a great Broncos season. And that's the tricky part, being in those locker rooms. And Chad, you've been there. Where they had such a big year and the sting of whatever your last loss is, and you've had a couple of the very toughest you can have, it's hard to get guys to put it in a perspective of like, oh, this is a great year. Yeah, we exceeded our own expectations perhaps because when you're that close to the Super Bowl and literally a field goal might have been the difference. If you kick one, who knows what the chain of events is after that, because the one thing we knew was the weather was coming, and so it just feels like that's something that if Sean Payton's going to second guess himself on any of his play calls or decisions, it's going to be not only to go for it on 4th and 1, but maybe the bootleg, the rollout that he calls with Stidham that had just worked for a touchdown, knowing that the Pats were waiting for that as opposed to maybe some sort of short yardage run, especially because you just picked up a couple of yards with your fullback a few plays earlier.
Now, so often it's talked about, more games are lost than are won. And so I think you could credit the Patriots for some coaching decisions, some halftime adjustments. But I think if you're going to do that, then you have to also look at Sean Payton and some of those decisions that you just alluded to. So what was that feeling in the Broncos locker room? Did they feel as if they were beat by the Patriots, or they lost the game with some decisions, play calls, or performances on the field?
Yeah, and I don't know if the players are going to sit there and second-guess their coach too much. I'm not saying when they go to dinner tonight with their friends and family, they're going to be, man, why didn't we just kick the field goal, take those points, or why didn't we do this thing or that thing? Why didn't Stiddy just hold on to the ball? I mean, if anybody's going to kick anything about kick themselves about a play, it's Stidham who did so. His press conference wrapped up just a few minutes ago, and when he finished up, I came upstairs here to talk to you guys, and he's like, I just have to take the sack there and let Jeremy punt it, especially because Crawshaw, he had his best punt of the year in the Bills game, and then he had his best day punting in cold weather and then snowy weather. He was awesome today. But I don't think that the players are beating themselves up too much, but I also don't think they're like, oh man, the Patriots were just a better team than us. I know this, and I just checked, the game had just started. It was 0-0. But if your Seahawks can pull out a win, Chad, and their defense, which is similar to the Broncos, different personnel, but is a mean, nasty defense, if they show up for Super Bowl 60 and play the Patriots, and the Patriots give you what you saw today, it's not going to be 10-3. It's going to be 30-10 in favor of the Seahawks, because they're obviously able to score more points consistently than Denver has been at times, and obviously a backup quarterback too. But no, I don't think in the locker room, though, they're sitting there second-guessing single things. I'm guessing you saw it too as you were watching it. I turned to the guys I was sitting with in the press box, and I'm talking to, it's Cody Rourke and maybe D-Mac was next to me, but I said it to Cody. I was like, it comes down to third down here on that final drive where Drake May picks up the first down. You have to be thinking play action, QB boot. If I'm thinking that, I'm sure Vance Joseph was as well. And even that's communicated. Maybe Jonah Ellis needs to push up a little more. If the field's dry and that play is coming, maybe he can make the play on grass, clean grass versus snowy grass. But that, there's not much you can say to second guess things other than something here, there. And when it is a game of inches and a game of, playoff games are supposed to be close. It's hard to win every game. We know that. And it stinks when you know that you had a chance. There were a number of different ways the ball could have bounced in your favor, and you could be planning a trip to the Super Bowl right now. Instead, you got 6 guys down there planning a trip to the Pro Bowl, and the other, 50 plus, when you talk about 50, 60 plus, you talk about guys that are injured, planning trips to Cancun or Cabo or whatever.
Wow. So, I'm sure you were able to hear what Sean Payton said. I heard from the text line that he took accountability for some things that went down today, because I do believe we could have won that game. And it was a game of just a couple of choices that went not in our favor. I'm wondering what he said about that.
Yeah, he said it more than once, and he I think was even asked about it, about taking that accountability. And, because coaches will say it starts with me, but then they, I think, even asked for some specifics, and he kind of went back to that 4th down decision. I think in general, if you look at his play calling, did he abandon the run at times when you knew you needed it, perhaps? And so I think that I've got folks here trying to clean up the suite I'm in, so you guys are good. Close the windows. Sure, they're going to close the windows. No, you're good. They're going to close the window. Yeah, we don't want anything to freeze. So here, all good. Say hi to Chad and Kristin. Anyway, so they're going to close up the window so nothing freezes. But point being, Sean, he knows it starts with him, and that's going to make it probably even harder to sit with in some respects. No, it's live. It's live. Don't apologize. So, I come into their suites, so no big deal. But we understand that he's going to take accountability, and I think we appreciate that. But at the same time, with the effort that defense gave you and holding them essentially to 3 points, and they kept getting off the field and kept making Drake May uncomfortable, even when they had a drive to come out at the half and pick up all those, first downs running the ball with 8 straight runs. That's a Mike Vrabel call, because I think Josh McDaniels and Sean Payton at times are cut from the same cloth, where it's like, yeah, we know we can run it, but we know we've got a good pass play that's going to pick up more yards. And so I think that was a mandate from Vrabel to say, we're running it coming out of the half, and they did. But even then, the Broncos D bends but doesn't break. I think Sean's going to be kicking himself for letting him down, but letting his defense down. I'm not saying that he's sitting there going, man, I can't believe. Maybe he is. I let that half of the ball down. They played championship level football, and we didn't back it up on offense.
Now, looking at the comment lines here in the studio, Sean lost the game. You got to take the points there. So there are certainly fans who have some pretty strong feelings about these choices that Sean made. And so whether we're talking about some of those play calls, to repeat the boot 2 plays in a row, I mean, it's a championship game. It's a defense that is going to expect you to do the things that you've done before. So while the aggressive nature of Sean Payton certainly has played out well a number of times this year, I think in today's game, particularly considering the weather and the situations on the field, some of those calls are more glaring than they were in previous weeks.
Yeah, and that's and instead of thinking about it for a week and correcting it next week, he now has to think about it until Labor Day rolls around. And we're going to have, I don't know if you guys knew this. I say knew this. I don't know how many people were aware, because I wasn't until today, that we've got one of those late Labor Days where it's the 8th or whatever, or 7th, whatever the last possible Monday of Labor Day could be, I guess. So the season's going to start super late, and then the playoffs, because of how they'll end up shaking out, we're going to get the Super Bowl on Valentine's, and then that means it's also President's Day weekend. So we're going to have what we think the NFL is pushing towards anyway. Most years when the calendar doesn't fall like this is an extra regular season game that pushes everything back so that Super Bowl Sunday leads into essentially a national holiday on President's Day. They're going to get it next year. My point being, if you're talking about on Labor Day being the 7th, whatever that is. So he's talking about 10th, 11th, 12th, 3rd. It's going to be sitting with them for a while, I guess is a long way to say, until they kick it off to start the year. I think that a lot of the things that he's second guessing, he knows he can't correct now. He can't fix them next week or in 2 weeks, in this case, in the Super Bowl against either the Seahawks or the Rams. And so I think that's gonna sit with them all off season, and it'll probably be a narrative that is likely brought up. The next time we'll talk to Sean, most likely is going to be at the Combine in a few weeks now. I guess about a month or so, last week of February. And he's going to be asked about it by local folks and national folks. And he's probably going to be asked about it when we talk to him again at the owners' meetings at the end of March. And then whenever he decides to talk to us in the spring, just how much are you still second guessing, or is that loss sitting with you? Because one thing that he said, and then his team and coaches kind of repeated it last year, was, they got to that first playoff game, lost to the Bills, but they said, you don't pick up right where you left off. You have to earn it. And they did earn it. And so they don't get to automatically be the 1 seed again next year. You were talking about it before I joined you guys, but I was listening to y'all chat about the AFC West. We're not sure exactly which direction the Raiders are going to go just yet. That should come into focus here in the next couple of days, at least who their leaders are and who's going to get second interviews. Does Vance Joseph, does Davis Webb, do they end up going out there together? But regardless, Mike McDaniel calling plays for Justin Herbert. If Jim Harbaugh lets him do his thing, and Hampton, they're going to be better. We know how good that defense is. And then the Chiefs, no way that they're going to be worse. So you don't just automatically get that 1 seed right back just because you won it this year. It feels like this division could be headed towards what we've seen in the NFC East, where they've had a different division champ every year, just about. Obviously, the Eagles now won it 2 years in a row, but for 20 years, every year it's been a different winner. So it feels like the AFC West maybe headed that direction after the Chiefs' dominance for nearly a decade.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I think that makes very exciting football. But to circle back to what you said about Sean having to sit with this for the offseason, Bronco country, I understand we're all going to sit with this throughout the offseason. I do believe it was an amazing season. And we had so many close wins, right? Where coach didn't really have to truly take accountability for some of the play calling because we won. I'm wondering how much that came back to bite us in the play calling, because we don't really have to take accountability. In the end, we won. And I just felt like there were some calls today that weren't, as Chad Brown would say, conventional
football wisdom.
There we go. So
yeah, well, I think you're right, Kristin. And even this week, he was kind of asked, like, you handed the ball to running backs 10 times. We can do the math on how many times he actually let Bo run last week, but against the Bills, 10 carries for the running back group total. On paper, it said 12 for Bo. Kneel down makes it 11. So how many of those, and I don't have it memorized, were passes that he turned into runs. But even if it's 7 or 8 for Bo, well, that's still just 10 for your running backs last week. Sean's response was, "Did we win the game? Did we win the game?" It was on the conference call on Thursday. And so you're right. He was able to, I guess, I don't say hide behind the defense, but stand on how well the defense played, knowing that the offense could be up and down at times. And, mentioning Bo, and we hear that the surgery went well and there's not severe ligament damage or structural damage, we think, and it's a 3 to 4 month recovery. If Bo Nix is in this game today, with the weather conditions being exactly how they are, you got to think the Broncos still have certainly a better chance to win, but it would have played to Bo's strengths, because just like we saw Drake May pick up a few chunk plays and certainly that last run with his legs, Bo is as fast, if not faster, than Drake May. So it would have just been fascinating, even if it was almost the exact same game script, what Bo's legs could have given you versus Jarrett Stidham, who obviously played solid in the first half, and then in the second half, interception trying to make a play. But the play in the first half is what killed you. But nonetheless, I think Sean understands that he gets paid, 18, 19, 20 million bucks, whatever his salary is, for a reason. And that's to take accountability. And he can't blame Vance. He can't blame his special teams return game. They're missing JL Skinner. And so I think early on, the gunner for the Patriots got to Marvin Mims, when maybe there were some yards out there. But like we talked about, Crawshaw was great. And did the weather affect Will Lutz? Certainly. I think there's another way to look at it, between the long field goal in the first half and then obviously the one in the second half that we think got deflected, and still had a chance to get there, which was kind of crazy. But you can't. I don't think you're blaming the special teams as much as you're blaming yourself as the offensive play caller, and thus as the head coach as well.
All right, so we've beat up Sean Payton a little bit here. But looking back at this season overall, when Sean Payton said this was a Super Bowl roster early this year, I was like, I don't think it is. And he was saying this when I think they had right around the time they had the back-to-back loss to the Colts and the Chargers. And so I thought this Broncos team can be a Super Bowl roster. Their best football was going to be in front of them. And so while this year it's got to be, again, crushing because of today's loss, I think if you look at this timeline for this football team, they still got another couple years on Bo Nix's rookie contract. There's still a lot of youth on this football team. There's still young guys their career is still on the ascension, not on the descent. So I think this is a really good football team over the next 3 or 4 years at the very least.
Yeah, your building blocks are certainly in place, and that's if you believe Bo Nix is a franchise quarterback. I think that the three of us certainly do, and the Broncos do. That's probably what's most important in this instance. Your O-line is set. You just paid Luke Wattenberg. You've got Powers and McGlinchey in year 4 of their deals, right? Because they were the two signings that Sean Payton made, and this just finished year 3. So they're both at the end of those 4-year deals. McGlinchey might have signed a 5-year deal. But either way, you've got Meinert's in place on a long-term deal. You just paid your left tackle, Garrett Bowles, first-team All-Pro in year 9. I think you like your wideouts. You don't love them. You like the upside of Franklin and Bryant. They've got to stay on the field. Bummer to see Bryant's hamstring bother him today, and he had to leave the game in the first half and didn't return after getting back from the concussion last week. And so you like those pieces, but you probably want to still upgrade your tight end if you can, and upgrade your wide receiver, top side of that position group. So you can either do that in the draft and get lucky. You can trade up, or you can maybe make a trade for someone like a T. Higgins if that was out there, because they've got about 30 or 40 million bucks under the cap, I think, when it all shakes out. And so, we know Sean doesn't have a problem putting voidable years on guys' contracts and kicking the money down the road. So if you could add one more frontline receiver and or a frontline tight end, I think they're bringing J.K. Dobbins back on a multi-year deal. I think that's why they weren't in a hurry to get him back. And I think he might have had a little, I don't want to say setback, but I think it was some soreness this week, because I was told by a good source that he was ready to play last week, and they were being cautious with him because they want him back on a multi-year deal. I say 2-3 years, $7 million a year, nothing crazy, but they want him back to be the vet in that room and to be as productive as he was. And so I don't think you're making huge changes in your backfield. And on defense, other than you're going to lose John Franklin Myers, but that's why you drafted Savion Jones. You like what you got with these frontline pass rushers, and then you saw Q Robinson today make one of the biggest plays early, show his explosiveness. Plus, we know what Jonah Ellis is and what Tillman is. I think inside linebacker, you're old there, so you have to decide, is Alex Singleton back? Are you going to bring Sternad back? How do you handle that situation? And Dre Greenlaw obviously has a couple years left on his deal. but you're not making too many more moves. They don't have a lot of moves to make other than depth moves. And are you bringing Jaquan McMillan back, or do you let him walk because you drafted Jahdae Barron and you've got Riley Moss still on his rookie deal, obviously PS2. So I think they're building blocks, and you can disagree with me, Chad, if you think that I overstated it, but it feels like, Big Al always likes to talk about players that are brick and players that are mortar. I think they have a bunch of players that are bricks that you can build on.
I think they've got a strong core. Yeah, there's no glaring weakness anywhere. Tight end would be the number one room I would want to improve. But even the wide receivers, there's such a young group. You can expect them to improve over the next couple of years as they get more experience, particularly with this offense and with both. So, I think George Paton has an opportunity to go a little bit more best player available rather than we've got 5 things we got to shore up, or otherwise we don't have a chance. That is certainly not the case with this football team. And again, they are in a Super Bowl window with a Super Bowl talent-worthy roster. I just think the roster needed to mature. And as we know, sometimes in the playoffs, sometimes you got to knock on the door a couple of times before you can get all the way in. And we don't want this to be a situation like in Buffalo where they make a playoff run every year, but they never get the Super Bowl. I think this team can learn from this experience and utilize this to propel themselves next year. But as you started off talking about, there's no way to fast forward through the season and get yourself back to the championship game. And that is always a significant hurdle for a team to overcome when you lose a championship game is, hey, we just want to get back there and win the game against the Super Bowl. No, you got to earn your way back. And I've been on those teams. I was on the Steeler team where we lost the championship game to the Chargers and Junior Seau the year before. Then the next year we were 3-4. And then we had to make a decision. What are we going to do, y'all? Then we ran the next 9 off and went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Cowboys. But we were in that coasting mode of, we just want to be back in the AFC Championship game. Well, you got to earn your way back there. So that's another hurdle for this team to overcome. And from a maturity and football character standpoint, one more thing they have to do.
Yeah, and it feels like in the NBA is the sport where they can kind of do that the most, that the teams at the top can get there and then make their playoff adjustments as needed or step on the gas. But in the NFL, especially when you're one and done, all the other major sports have a series, in soccer even until you get to the last round, it's 2 games. It's a home and road typically in the playoffs, at least in those middle rounds. Point being that, you're going to have to fight through it. And this, Chad, I'd be curious to know, in the years where you had your best teams, so the team that went to the Super Bowl lost to the Cowboys, your best teams in Seattle, right? Because you went to you go to the Super Bowl when y'all lost to the Steelers that year?
Was in New England that year.
You were already in New England that year. Okay, but regardless, you were on some really good teams. Point being, usually your best teams are often your healthiest teams, not always. And so the Bo Nix injury is catastrophic, but it was so fluky and happened in the second round of the playoffs, okay? Otherwise, you lose J.K. Dobbins and you lose Brandon Jones. I'm pretty sure those are your only starters that you lost for significant time, save for Ben Powers in the middle of the year with a biceps. And that was it, right? We're done with the list of severe injuries. And so you had bumps and bruises along the way. You had a guy miss a game here or there, but it wasn't any starter that missed significant time. And I go back to when the Broncos won the Super Bowl 10 years ago, and we love the storytelling aspect of, or the Disney story, whatever you want to call it, of, hey, a decade later, they're going to go back to Levi Stadium where they won Super Bowl 50 with a great defense and good enough offense. But that defense in week 1 of the 2015 season, Derek Wolfe was suspended, I think, for PEDs, but he was obviously penciled in as a starter. Not only the same 11 starters, but then their next 4 backups, or the next 4 guys. So Bradley Roby is a nickel, technically a 12th guy, and then Shaq Barrett and Shane Ray and Todd Davis as your 3rd inside linebacker. So all of those guys were healthy. The only guys that were out at that point were Omar Bolden, who was your 4th corner, 5th corner, depending on how you looked at it, and David Bruton, who was a special teams ace and your 3rd safety. That's it. Everybody else, all of your starters on defense from week 1 started in the Super Bowl. And you just don't get that most years or consistently every year. I understand some teams just stay healthier than others, but they were really healthy this year. We know they were really healthy last year, and maybe it's because they run a good program with Bo Lowry and all of that. But we understand it's football, and it's only a matter of time until you get hurt. And we'll see, when Bo gets back, is he slow out of the gate? Even though we think that the recovery timeline should have him ready to go by training camp, let alone by the start of the season. Nonetheless, we could go down the list of players, but the odds that they're as healthy as they were last year and this year just isn't great, because we understand how the nature of this sport works.
Well, I have to say I'm thrilled to hear that news about Bo. That sounds like no ligament damage and it went well. Um, he's been such a great leader and brought so much belief to this town, this city, Bronco country.
Bo Leaf.
Bo Leaf. It's been so exciting. It's got me rooting against my old football teams, which has been interesting. But I do think to circle back to what you had brought up about Sean saying this is a Super Bowl caliber team. I believed he was spot on. I believe we literally beat ourselves today. A couple different play calls, and suddenly we are all celebrating and not having this incredible grief in my heart right now. So I have a lot of hope in the future for this team. And I mean, I think they had an amazing season, but it's interesting. I hadn't thought about all those little wins that, there were some play callings that was crazy, not to get back on it, but the fact that we had that and we're able to keep riding that and not apologizing for wins, I feel like that hurt us today because we went back to that same thing. So maybe run the ball more and get all the way to the big dance next year.
Well, and you talk about running the ball more. That was, I think, a big reason why. And it wasn't necessarily that it was John Fox's fault, but going back to 2014, John Fox had Mike McCoy as play caller, then had Adam Gase / Peyton Manning. And when they were moving on from Foxy, John Elway made a point to bring in Gary Kubiak because he knew that Gary was going to run the football and the plays were going to be a run play to a run play. We're going to be the checks. So there wasn't going to be the opportunity for Peyton. And we know Peyton was at the end of his rope and maybe a little banged up. Obviously, well, he missed 7 games, or 6 games. But the Gary was there to emphasize running the ball. And it wasn't like CJ Anderson and Ronnie Hillman. I know CJ went to a Pro Bowl, I think the next year, but it wasn't like they were household, frontline running back names necessarily. But there was an emphasis to run the ball and play good defense because you have the roster for it. But I do think if we're going to give Sean credit, and you can give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's the head coach. They were the 1 seed, but in training camp, he's telling everybody that'll listen, and it's Kay Adams and it's Albert Breer and it's Diana Rossini. It's all these, and Chase Daniel when they're here. It's these national folks that Sean thinks this is a Super Bowl team. Then we ask him, he's like, look, I've had 5 or 6 teams that I think are capable of winning the Super Bowl. And this is absolutely what that team was this year. When you're in the Final Four, when you're the 1 seed hosting the championship game, especially if your quarterback's not hurt, but even with him getting hurt today, they still had a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's not like saying, oh, if these 8 things happened, we would have made the playoffs and probably won the Super Bowl. Like maybe the Ravens are saying, right? Had they made that field goal, maybe the Ravens won the Super Bowl. Okay, that's a much bigger leap than a field goal here in the first half. Maybe the game plays out differently and you're in the Super Bowl, which obviously then you have a chance to win it. So I think that, and Sean, I don't say he doesn't care about it. He's not going to take a victory lap or feel validated publicly, but he will be asked about it probably at the combine. And I think he can say, yeah, we were clearly capable. I was right. And in this case, I think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else to cap off this wonderful yet disappointing end to the season here? I mean, again, I thought they outplayed where they should have been. I think their best window and best football is ahead of them. It wasn't this year. This is not their only opportunity. And again, sometimes you have to learn what playoff football is about. So you have to learn from a coaching perspective or a player perspective how it's going to be 3 to 5 plays. And I can't just have a loose play call in there. And I can't be loose with the ball if I'm the quarterback. You have to learn these lessons sometimes in a very hard and real and visceral way. So I think a lot of guys will be going off to their vacations in Cabo or to the Pro Bowl, thinking about some of these things and making that vow to themselves about next year, things will be different.
Well, look, the offensive play caller is going to be here, but we don't know Vance Joseph's future. You got to think that he's a strong candidate in Arizona, and he hasn't even interviewed with them yet. There was some scheduling, I think, obstacles the first week of the playoffs when his window was open. He talked to those 4 other teams. And does he get a second interview with the Raiders? But you got to think he's a strong candidate there because I heard they didn't love their offensive candidates necessarily that they spoke to, and nobody knocked their socks off. Do they want to go with a 30-year-old Davis Webb to be the head coach versus just hiring Davis to be the play caller? But is Vance Joseph a head coach in one of those 2 spots next year? Then is your defense, which will have your personnel, but will have Jim Leonard dialing up every play call. Will they be able to have the same level of productivity and come up in big spots? I'm not saying they won't at all. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying that the conversation will be had if in big spots they aren't getting to the quarterback on 3rd and 8, or having the success that Vance had so many times in crunch time and in big spots, where this year, again, you have to have the personnel to do it, but Vance was able to press the right buttons more times than not. And if he ends up coaching somewhere else next year, I likely as the head coach at one of those two places, what does the defense look like? Even though, like we said, most of the personnel will be back. And if Vance gets one of those jobs, I won't be surprised if JFM follows him either. Well, I say to the desert, both are kind of in the desert, right? Vegas or Arizona. Does J-Mac follow him as well? Zach Allen came with him from Arizona, and that's obviously worked out pretty well for the Broncos and for Zach Allen. So that's something just to kind of think about in the back of your mind.
All right. Well, I guess we'll bid you adieu. Thank you so much for joining us all year. Thank you for giving Chris and I this opportunity.
Thank you. This has been great. It's been so awesome to have you all a part of the Guerilla family, and I think that we all wanted one more post-game show, but we had a heck of a run, and it was a great first year for us here, I think, doing this, and I'm excited to see it grow and continue to just get, cooler and cooler with you guys and with what we're doing here at Guerilla. It's going to be a lot of fun, even if this is going to be a tough way to spend the rest of our Sunday. And I don't know if the weather's going to help anyone's mood either.
Facts.
See you, BK. Thanks, buddy.
Right, see you guys.
See ya. Well, perhaps we can do a little football showtime from California, because by the way, we're still going. And we will be doing a fashion show for charity.
Yes. Yes.
I will be in the fashion show for charity for the NFL Off the Field Players' Wives Association. So if you'll be there, go online and look up the Super Bowl fashion show, which is a charity. So it's a great way to spend your money and afternoon. And what's really cool is you always get guys from the teams who played before, who are playing even in the game, their wives, and you'll come out and escort me as well. It's a good time. It's a great cause. But I tell you what, I'm still in some grief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I will strut my stuff for fashion for charity.
Yeah. Well, yes. If there's a consolation prize, I suppose, for the Broncos not making it, yes. The NFL wives get together and they do a tremendous job. And they get together and do a fashion show every year at the Super Bowl. And this will now be your 3rd time participating.
Yes.
So looking forward to all of that, and happy for the work that you and these wives do for charity.
Yes.
And all the causes that you guys support, not just for this fashion show, but literally the charitable functions for the NFL. It's the players who are the face of that, but it's the wives who are the backbones and really drivers behind that. So lots of folks and lots of community causes are helped and highlighted due to participation of the wives. And so to tip of the cap to you and all your sisters, NFL wives, for what you've done in the past and now for this fashion show as well.
Thank you. It's important to give back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing with us to do this podcast or this post-game live thing. I think you said you're going to do things that make you a little afraid.
Yeah. And this felt scary, but look who's here.
Yes. And so tip of the cap to you to try new and scary things.
Yeah.
And to show off all your football knowledge.
Thank you for teaching me.
And your on-camera skill set. This has been a fun. It sucks. This is the last one.
Yeah.
But as BK just said, I look forward to next year. Bigger and better things for Guerilla Sports.
Yep.
For post-game live with us.
Yep.
And all the things. So time will bring some relief from the pain of today and some hope for the future. And hopefully some better football. Just 3 to 5 more plays next year so we can be in the Super Bowl.
They say time is a healer, and I do believe it's what you do with this time.
Yes.
I love that he took some accountability, and we'll see what happens with the accountability. And I really hope we can keep this team together, because I think that'll be a big factor into going to the big dance next year. Yeah.
And while I'm passing out thank yous, I thank you all as well.
Yes,
who have
thank you.
tuned in not just to this post-game show, but to all of Guerilla Sports.
Yes.
The Guerilla Sports family is certainly trying to grow, and things were exciting and new this year. And I think next year, from a cohesive perspective, the experience gained from this year will allow us to bring you bigger and better and more awesome content next year and next football season. So looking forward to that as well. Thank you all, you guys, for tuning in, for all the comments during the show.
Yep.
And even the comments during the week that sometime Chris and I have to take notes on. We can make sure we bring that up when we do the post-game show. So we appreciate all those, and look forward to seeing all you guys next year.
Thank you.
We're out.
Bid you adieu.
Yes.